The views and opinions expressed by our guest, host, and/or DJs do not, we repeat, do not reflect the official policy or position of RGV Titan Radio, our affiliates, or our sponsors. RGVTitanRadio.com. We are the 956.
And welcome back to the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I'm here with my boy Fredward. What's up, Fredward?
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's been going pretty good. We have a special guest. We're going to introduce him in a little bit, but I wanted to ask Fred, how's everything going with your week, man?
Oh, dude, my week has been very interesting, and I have done so much that I've never done before, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Dude, explain. That sounds super cool.
Well, the other day, my boss brought in a hog.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, you know what? I saw the picture you posted in the group chat, man.
Yeah. That was interesting. They brought a hog to work because they were like, oh, we're at the ranch and we found this fucker out there where he wasn't supposed to be, and it was just like, oh well, I mean, boars are a pest, so they went ahead and they took it down and they brought him to the shop, and we had to open them up. We gutted them, and that was insane. That was super cool. And then we fucking, like, the thing fucking exploded, and like there was shit all over the place. And like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it smelled really bad. And we fucking cleaned it out and hosed it down and everything, and put it in the walk-in cooler and hung it up to bleed out for yesterday. And then yesterday I was able to skin it. I learned how to skin the boar while it was hanging. That was very interesting. I'd never seen that before. I mean, like, my uncles and my dad's done that shit before, right? Where they'll kill the pig for Christmas or whatever. But even then, you know, they got the pig laying down and they're there like gutting it, and they're like making a mess too. But you know, they're not professionals. Well, we have like the pulley system, and we have the walk-in cooler, and so it was pretty cool, man. It was very interesting. Very interesting.
Are there a lot of things like you're a professional cook? Is there a lot of stuff you could do with like that kind of meat?
Oh hell yeah, dude! Are you kidding me? Endless possibilities, man. Like everything. In fact, the other day we were telling my boss how we were slow cooking a pig head, and he was like, "Well, what are you gonna do with it?" And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna make tamales."
Nice.
And he was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." So we slow cooked it for overnight, and when we went back, my buddy Zach, who was just here a while ago, he grabbed the skull from the back of the head and just pulled it out, and like all the meat just stayed behind, and he pulled out
fell off?
he pulled out a clean skull. He just pulled it out.
That's wild.
It was just like, holy crap! Like you just see the face, you know, just
it just falls right off.
it just fell
gross.
off. We were just
make
like,
that into an ASMR video.
I will tell you right now, man. Smell has to do with everything, okay? Like, that's the bottom line. You see, gutting the pig by itself, that was pretty disgusting. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But like, your faces didn't really cringe. But when I said the face fell off his skull, like both y'all's faces like looked like, oh my god, that's disgusting. The smell was so delicious. It just smelled so good. Dude, slow cooked it. It was food. It's food. Nice. So, you know, we removed the skull out of it. We were just like, oh my god, and it tasted so good. Damn it. Well, I'm hungry again.
Cool.
But yeah, that's cool. What I did this week, man. That's what I did this week. I fucked with the pig like almost all week.
Hey, that's fucking badass. I've never done that before, so that's got to be quite the fucking experience.
It was. It absolutely was. What about you, man? How was your week?
It's been pretty good. I mean, it's just really hot. I mean, my job, it's always pretty much the same thing. I do this thing on Facebook like every day where like I get to always see these like really weird places of the valley that I never even knew we had. So like I'm always putting up pictures, dude, and it's like I try to put them up because like as a person who thinks of like photography and imagery and film and stuff like that, you're always trying to showcase what your eyes can see, and you're always trying to put it into different ways and a different perspective so people can appreciate what you're looking at. So it's like if you see like a set of stairs and you think it looks beautiful, you would film it in all these different positions just so people can understand the beauty of the stairway, right? So this past week we went out to this like weird like canal area that's over there in Lyford, like Raymondville. And dude, I didn't even know it was there. And people are telling me that work there, like that it's a beautiful place to like fucking catch catfish and all this other stuff.
Nice.
But there was this other fucking place that I saw that we're gonna be working on. That's like a non-used canal, and it's got a concrete bank,
Oh,
and
shit.
like that shit hit me like it was the '90s, and I was back in skating, and I was like, fuck, dude, if I had my shit for skating, like this would be the place that I'd fucking rip shit, dude. And I put it up online, and lo and behold, some of my friends that live upstate were like, yo, where's this place? It looks like it needs to be shredded. And I was like, well, yeah, dude, like, yeah, it just looks so perfect. And it's in the middle of nowhere, dude, like no civilization, just this awkwardly beautiful concrete canal. That's the easiest way to put it.
Wow.
So if anybody has my Facebook, go check it out. It was like 2 days ago. Other than that, yeah, man, just regular work, being out in the sun. It really sucks, but it pays the bills, man. I'm just appreciative to have a job, have some money coming in. I know that there's people out there that they don't got that opportunity. And yeah, and then again this week we're without our boy Trigger. Trigger got caught up at work again. So shout out to Trigger. I know you're probably listening, driving all crazy, trying to get home. Take your time. Be safe, brother.
Triggs, we miss you, brother.
Yeah. So I want to introduce our guest. He's a good friend of mine in Fredwards. He's a man of mystery, man. I'm going to tell you that much. He's got a cool, badass voice. Sounds like a secret agent. And he's got a really crazy love for music. I'm talking about our friend, Christopher Thomas Richardson. What's up, Chris?
How's it going?
How's everything going for you, man? Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Good. You know, like you, I'm just grateful to still have work. I work at STC, and you know, a lot of people are hurting out there, so I can't complain at all.
You know, with all the stuff that's going on, how has it been for you working like at the college and stuff? Because I know, like, if I drive by it during the day, it's probably not like a lot of people that are there. There's probably not many cars. There's probably not anything going. Is it more at home work compared to being at the facility? Or are they asking you stuff about that yet? Or
yeah, like after spring break, we went completely online, and we've been online ever since. So I think there will be some options for the professors who want to and the students who want to be in person in the fall, but most of us don't want that option, you know. So I'll be all online for the fall.
How is it? So what do you teach at STC?
I teach writing.
Okay. Which one do you tell? English 1, rhetoric, composition?
Yeah, usually it's composition or rhetoric.
Okay. Very, very cool. And how long have you been established with STC?
9 years. So
that's awesome.
Month will be 9 years of me being in the Valley.
Yeah. Oh, so you're not from here?
No, I'm from St. Louis, original in St. Louis for 30 years.
Damn. So how is the transition moving from a city of that size to something like the Valley?
I mean, that would take the whole podcast, really. But I definitely miss some of the big city stuff. You know, every once in a while I get a chance to go to Austin or San Antonio or something like that, or I'll fly back to St. Louis and visit my friends and family there. But you know, the beach here is nice because there's no beach. I mean, we have a river there, but you know, it's not the same as the beach.
Yeah, definitely.
The food's better here overall.
You think so?
You know,
for reals?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, there's still some good places there, you know, but you know, like St. Louis is pretty good for Greek food, Italian food, a few others that I'm probably not thinking about, but yeah.
I mean, it's
the
it's a good fact.
Mexican food, nothing beats that. So
I mean, we are the fattest town in the nation, or what is that shit that we're famous for, dude? Are we like the fattest something?
We're just fat, dude.
Fattest, I'm not talking.
Or the obese.
We're fat and PHAT fat, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We all make it look good.
Like dude, Madagascar, damn girl, you big. You hefty.
Yeah, fluffy.
I couldn't believe the raspas. Like when I first moved here, you know, and I found out that you could put 1,000 things on top of a snow cone,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
dude.
what they call them in St. Louis. It's like nobody knows what raspas are there.
You fucking they'll put
And I was
pickles
like,
and
really? You
Kool-Aid
got
and
like
Cheetos
pickle
and shit.
juice and worms and orange salt, and I was just
Yeah,
a
it
white
still
boy,
fucking
didn't
freaks
know what
me
the hell
out,
I was
dude.
doing.
I've been here all my life, and it still freaks me the hell out. People
Yeah, a
put
little
like
bit.
Cheetos and fucking cocaine
Yeah.
and everything. They'll put everything in that shit.
Yeah.
Sprinkle some
Yeah,
meth
man.
on that.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's so much, creativity with the food here, Frito pie and stuff like
Oh,
that.
dude, yeah, man.
I love me some Frito pie.
There's a place in Edinburgh on Monte Cristo that has a cucumber sushi,
Oh yeah.
and all they do is take a cucumber and they cut it up, and they sprinkle some fucking chile on it and put some more chile on it, and then put some gummy worms on it. They try to make it look like a sushi roll, but it's literally just a big ass cucumber. Wow. And that shit freaks the fuck out of me every time I see it, because I'm like, you're gonna pay $6 for a fucking cucumber, dude? Come on, man.
But
stop.
It's an
you
art.
Go Walmart.
It's an art.
Yeah, it's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art piece, dude. One of these days we're gonna be watching some Gordon Ramsay shit, and someone's gonna make a fucking sushi cucumber on the show, and he's gonna start crying. He's gonna hug the person on how beautiful it is. It's just gonna be the weirdest fucking thing, man. Hey, okay, so Chris, with being part of South Texas College and in the situation right now, I know that there's a lot of things that are going on with like the community, of course, with the COVID-19 and the pandemic and stuff like that. What's your viewpoint on it? Like there are talks of people needing and wanting students to go back to school. I know that it's a big debate right now with a lot of like the younger things, but we don't really hear about it much from the college level, because everybody's talking about like for high schools and elementaries going back, because they're talking about children protecting themselves. But of course, like at a college level, each student is primarily an adult and they can make their own decisions. So like, I feel like instead of it being the parent's choice, it's now the individual's choice if they want to go to school or not.
Yeah.
So like what kind of things have been talked about at the college here, and your opinion on the situation?
I mean, really, I think they're just trying to be online as much as possible. Some classes are really hard, so they're going to try to have those in person and be as safe and spaced out as possible and everything. But they're really ramping up the technology to be online, the training to be online, the resources to be online. So I think that's the main answer. For the people that do have to be on campus, they're really raising the standards for cleaning everything again and again and again and again and again.
Over and over again, yeah.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
More cleaning chemicals, more training for the proper disposal of those chemicals. And
Very cool.
So I mean, even me, somebody that doesn't have to deal with cleaning the campus as much, I still had to go through trainings for some of the chemical stuff. And,
but that's good to know that the staff in the college is taking it that serious.
Yeah. And we had to do CDC trainings and stuff like that to be as informed as possible. So. Yeah.
So as a college professor, like you being in the business for 9 years, how has been the transition from teaching in person in class compared to this, like doing it on Zoom now, like 100%?
I mean, I think it's been somewhat painful, but STC has, done their best to reduce that pain as much as possible. So, it's kind of trying to make the most of a really rough situation, because, it's not easy for the people that haven't taught online much, like myself, and it's not easy for the people that have to train the Army.
Oh yeah, dude, or
either.
something.
So yeah. So
well, it's so weird because
good job considering.
It's so weird because of the fact that like this type of technology has been around for fucking 20-something years. I mean, goddamn YouTube making $1 million 7-year-olds with toys and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy that from when the pandemic started to now, how much we've had to learn about being on this whole like technology, kind of like a virtual world kind of thing. It's almost like it's created its own universe or something. I don't know if I'm going to get all philosophical or some shit, but it's so crazy. Like, even I think right before we started, I was having some problems with my computer, and we were talking about how Fred was trying to encourage me to make me not feel bad. And he was talking about that he saw a TV show and they were having technical difficulties, and they were just making it through. And it's kind of like, not only has the little guy had to adapt to this world, but celebrities and politicians and we see, like, you could see a dude that's making $1 million because of his movies,
but he's
using like an old pros, dude. What's up?
The pros, like even the pros. Oh yeah, man. Like we're all on the same platform now. Like we're all on the same level.
Yeah. Everyone is. It's so crazy, like how everyone's on the same platform now.
Like with the Saturday Night Live episodes, did you see any of those?
No, I haven't seen it. Are they trying to do stuff like this?
Well, yeah, they just record stuff in their own home. So some of the actors, I don't know if they're writing the sketches, but they have to film it all themselves. So what's the one girl's name? Is it like Kate McKinnon? Is that?
I haven't seen Saturday Night Live. Dude, I get so
their
long.
names mixed up, but yeah. Anyway, the one that played like Hillary Clinton and everything. She did her own sketch with like her cat, or maybe it was more than one cat, and just had to get creative with what was there in her apartment,
And so have you been watching these? Like, does it feel like the jokes, like, do they transition well?
I mean, it's been 2 or 2.5 months since I watched that, so I don't really remember. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. It's because it's interesting, man. Because I didn't even know Saturday Night Live was attempting that. I'd feel like, because they have a plethora of stuff that they could rerun. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they literally could make like a behind the scenes, right, and have like episodes on episodes of stuff that was never aired. It would all be like the DVD extras that they sell, kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of things that they can do. But instead they went to that, and that's kind of interesting, man, because I was going to jump in and say I was watching Trevor Noah. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally like an evolution if you watch his show from when the pandemic started to now, where you could see like the camera that he was using in the very beginning literally was like a bad Android phone. Yeah. And then like right now he's got like a whole like podcast setup where it's like 4K video and all this other stuff. And it's all of these people that have even had their own shows. I think Fred was saying that he's seen a couple of Stephen Colbert episodes. Like, you can see all of their, literally like their equipment change from like them first starting out to like the most recent episode, how everything's super great. Even in the politicians, man. Because I know that.
I'll tell you who's doing it right, though.
Who is? We are.
That Elmo show. Have you seen that new Elmo show, dude?
Elmo show?
Yeah, it's the Not So Late Show.
No, dude, what's that?
It's just Elmo, dude. He's a talk host, just like Leno, Letterman, old school talk.
Dude, I would totally watch that. I would totally watch that.
Yeah, I think it's like legit as fuck, and I think it's cool.
Are you guys familiar with what's his name? Alex Ross, the artist?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy drew Grover. Like a super Grover the other day. If anybody's got his Facebook, he just posted it up the other day. He drew like the most like epic variation of Super Grover I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, fucking tattoo worthy. Like, you'd want to get that shit on your face or like somewhere really cool, dude. If you have a chance, Facebook's Alex Ross, cool. the comic book artist. So, Chris, going back to what we were talking about, do you miss it though? Like, do you miss teaching in front of people?
Yes and no. I mean, it's kind of like, there's good students and there's bad students,
Oh yeah,
so I don't want to get in any trouble for saying too much about the bad students.
But you're gonna be all right.
But yeah, it's just like anything else. It's kind of like people ask me, "Oh, do you miss St. Louis?" And I'm like, "Well, I miss my good family."
Not the bad family.
But yeah, then there's family that you don't really want to see that you have to see.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good, man. I mean, it kind of sucks. I graduated in 2012 for graphics design, and there's times that I miss being in school.
Yeah.
I miss the effect. I miss the experience of school. I don't miss going to classes. I don't miss homework. I don't miss any of that shit. I miss the experience of like waking up, going to the room, seeing the people, seeing everybody walk around, the busyness.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that I work well when other people are around me working.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm like a coffee shop kind of dude like that. But you're not only a school teacher, you're also a dungeon master. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
But me and Chris played D&D together.
Pull me out of that closet.
Yeah, it's been going super fucking fun. I have to say thank you to those guys though, man. Travis, Abigail, Ed, you, like, it's really been like an escape, like playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I know you introduced us to a new game recently, and that one was fucking funny as hell, dude. But how long had you been doing that?
I think my uncle introduced my brother and I to role-playing games. I mean, we were pretty young, probably like I was probably like 12.
Did anything like that growing up encourage you to become something like a creative writer?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I think it made me think more about who I wanted to be, because when you're young and you make the characters, it's like you have all these options on who you want to be.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So what encouraged you to go in that direction in college to become like an English teacher or go into creative writing?
I had a really good popular literature professor. It was either my first or second semester at community college.
Oh, very, very cool. Over there in St. Louis or here?
Yeah,
well, I mean, it had to be St. Louis. Yeah. It's cool, man. So other than this teaching thing, I kind of deep dive into your YouTube channel. So not a lot of people do a lot of people know that you have a YouTube channel that you work with?
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that you're letting a few more people know,
Hell yeah, man. I mean, we want people to
shouting
go.
it out,
Yeah, man. I want
I try to get the word out as much as possible. But I mean, yeah, it's like, what's a lot of people, like I don't have 1 million subscribers, if that's what you mean.
No, but you got a good following,
fingers
man.
Crossed,
Yeah, you have a good following though. I mean, for how long have you had your YouTube channel?
Just like 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
Now you see, like with that 2 or 3 months, I think if I'm not mistaken, on my trailer, you can check it out. I think you're up to like about 80 subscribers, man.
Yeah.
That's already pretty impressive for 2 months. And I'm talking about like some of your videos got like 700 views on them.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's pretty damn impressive. Like for it being up that, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, most of your videos have been up for like maybe a month.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just popping out content, man. You're
I'm
content
doing my best.
monster.
Yeah. I just turned 39 in May, so like I think getting close to 40 is like, time's running out.
Yeah, you got it. That's kind of like the way I feel too. Like I'm roughly around the same age. If not, I'm probably like a year younger than you. Like I'm like, man, I should have started this shit 5 years ago, man, 4 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago.
Hey, as long as there's breath in your body, it's never too late.
You see, like that's the kind of shit that I'm kind of like looking at, man. Like there's videos of like grandmas playing fucking Call of Duty, calling people bitches and stuff, and they're getting millions of views. And I'm like, dude, if they could do it, fucking I could do it, man.
Yeah.
Or even like the old people reacting to reacting stuff, or I don't know. Like there's got to be a place for me somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Hey, so tell us about your YouTube channel. What's on it that gets people to watch it?
Well, I think the most popular stuff is the stuff like the tutorials and the reviews and stuff like that. So I'll do music tutorials, mixing and mastering tutorials and stuff like that. But I'll also review gear, like music hardware, music software, and stuff like that. And I also put my own music stuff on there as well.
And what kind of music do you make, man?
I mean, I've made a lot of different stuff in the last 3 years. For the longest time, it was just techno. I was all about techno for like a decade and a half, and then within the last 3 or 4 years, I kind of got bored with techno. I guess I still make it a little bit, but yeah, my style's been all over the place. I mean, it's definitely like mostly electronic. Fred and I got commissioned to do that Western theme song for the Redemption film.
Oh, nice.
Which turned out really nice, if I do say so.
Very cool.
It did. Yeah. It was awesome.
So how long have you been into music production?
Like 20 years, maybe.
Damn, man.
Yeah. So that's another reason, I feel like I was a perfectionist for so long. And now I'm just, putting myself out there. I think when I was younger, it was all about like, getting on a label, and I thought, oh, if my music's better, I'll be able to get on a label, but it really, looking back, that wasn't really the case. Getting on a label also involves networking, which I just wasn't that good at, 5 or 10 years ago. But now, 2020, labels don't matter as much. People will get famous, they just make their own label, or they just self-publish or independent. It doesn't matter. Anything can go viral now, and label might give you a little bit of a boost, but
well, I mean, it's because of this growth with the whole YouTube and SoundCloud, and how people can just jump on Spotify and iTunes nowadays, really without a label. Like, I mean, what's a label for anyways nowadays?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of self-made artists, like a lot of these new age rapper kids that are coming up. Like most of them are coming up kind of like, they're just like SoundCloud kids.
Yeah. And, and I have been on, so I don't want to make it sound like I've never been on. I've been on 4 or 5 at this point, but it's not that different. Like when I release stuff myself versus when I release stuff on a label, it gets about the same amount of traction, maybe a little more with a label, but not a ton more.
So did you start? I'm guessing you started your DJing over there in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
So ever since you moved down to the Valley, what's the music scene like down here? I mean, of course, it's going to be big city, so you have a lot more venues over there.
Yeah.
But like the acceptance of your type of music, like how is the transition from over there over here?
I mean, techno is really underground in America in general. So, there wasn't a huge techno scene in St. Louis, and there's not a huge techno scene in the Valley either, so I mean, of course, because St. Louis is bigger, the niche was a little bigger. But yeah, I think, if you're really into techno, the Detroit Electronic Music Festival that's every year is probably the biggest techno event. The bigger the city, the bigger the niche, so New York and I guess LA would still have a pretty big techno scene. But, when I was younger, it was always my goal to just get big enough and make enough money to go to like Berlin or something, permanently.
What was that
that's like
what's it called?
The techno capital of the world,
Yeah, but what's that one tomorrow something?
Tomorrowland.
Yeah, is that what it is? Is that the event?
I don't know where that one is. I mean, I know that some of the techno artists that I've liked in the past have been at that event, but yeah, I think like if you want to do techno, all the time, Germany, Amsterdam, Netherlands, those kind of places are the best for, or even England is better than here, so.
What's been the change in techno in the last couple of years? Like, I mean, we used to listen to techno back in the day when like a Blade movie came out or something. Like, it always had like some like techno in the soundtrack. There was a couple bands. I used to be a really big fan of Crystal Method back in the day.
Yeah.
What has changed from that style of techno to the newer age style of techno?
I mean, I wouldn't say that my knowledge is like super current, because like I said, my interest has kind of fallen off in the last couple of years. So I've been making other stuff and getting into other stuff. But I think it's really, even still, it's hard to answer that with just one, because it's kind of splintered off into all these different subgenres, so there's like Detroit techno and melodic techno, dark techno, German techno, tech house, you know, so it's just like anything else. Like if you talk to like a hardcore metal fan, they'll tell you that there's 20 genres of metal,
yeah, 20
you know,
genres
so
and subgenres and stuff.
yeah, I think that things just splinter, or, you know, there's new, you know, there's new hybrids of different kinds of music all the time that you wouldn't expect, you know, so yeah, I mean, that's my best guess, is it's probably splintered even further, and or there's, you know, just new genres in the last couple of years, or new styles, but yeah, it's lots of different stuff.
Well, who are some techno artists that you look up to?
For DJs, I would definitely say Chris Liebing. You know, he'll be playing 4 different tracks at once most of the time, and then he's putting effects on those and jumping back and forth, and so yeah, it's just this wall of rhythmic sound, and he'll put lots of delays and reverbs, and so you know, it's even if you've heard a lot of the music that he's playing before, you wouldn't recognize it because he's layering it so much and putting so many different effects, and so his stuff is really, really fun. So yeah, as a DJ, he would definitely be in my top 5, and he's just really consistent. You know, I think a lot of DJs, I might like them one year, and then the next year they go in a different direction, and I'm really picky, and I'm like, I don't really like what they're doing anymore, you know. But he's one of the few that, you know, it's like every time I would go back or listen to his podcast or whatever. Yeah, and I actually got to meet him twice. So
oh shit,
yeah, so
that's badass.
Yeah, he's from somewhere in Europe, I forget, but yeah.
How'd you meet him? You met him here?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it was in Detroit.
Concert?
Yeah, it was in
oh,
Detroit
shit.
both times. Yeah, or Detroit. Might have been Detroit once, Chicago once, but yeah.
Very, very cool.
But yeah, Chicago. I mean, Chicago's more toward the house music, but yeah, Chicago's got a good scene.
So, what are the different types of like general techno? Like the way you say house, I know that another one is like, I know that there's there's terms like EDM. You know, there's all these different techno terms and stuff like that. Can you kind of break us down like the most basic, I guess, if people wanted to look it up?
I mean, to me, EDM is tricky because some people will use it to mean a very specific type of more commercial electronic dance music, and then other people will use it to be more of a catch-all. Yeah, house is it's definitely, you know, a little more funky, a little more disco. It's, you know, it's more, it has more soul. It's going to have a little bit more of a traditional song structure than techno, whereas techno is going to be more percussive. There's going to be less harmony most of the time. Techno is going to be more repetitive than house as well. But yeah, like I said before, I mean, it really depends on who you're asking. And so, yeah, the definitions kind of change all the time. But yeah, I think the short answer is that techno is more percussive. You know, polyrhythms is a prominent feature of techno. So you have rhythmic loops that are looping in different times, you know, so one loop will wrap up before the next one does, and then they come back, and it's kind of hard to explain too, but yeah.
I mean, like ever since you hit me up and we were talking about getting you on the show, I've been trying to get like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna download some fucking some techno making programs, and I'm gonna fuck with some stuff on my Instagram, on my computer, on my iPad. And man, for the life of me, I've had so much trouble, and that's because I'm using like probably the most like GarageBand, like I'm using like Audacity and all these other things, and it's Egyptian to me, man. It is so hard.
If you want to learn any of that stuff, I'm willing to teach you some of it, and I plan on doing like classes in the future where people would pay for the classes. So
at SDC or what?
No, not through SDC. I don't think I just don't think SDC has that in their repertoire.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have like a techno appreciation.
It's not the right college for that, but yeah, in the future, I would be charging for classes. So for right now, I'm just kind of trying to get practice with the software, get some feedback, and so if anybody wants to learn right now, I'm willing to give them an hour free here or there.
That's so cool,
just
man.
for feedback and surveys, and what would improve your experience, and how much would you be willing to pay for this someday, and blah blah blah. So so for now it's just in the building stage or the practice stage, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere. I mean, and it sounds like something that would be a pretty cool venture. I mean, how many other people do you know have a freaking techno educations class? Like, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's some you'll see some advertised on Instagram, but I think they're more mixing and mastering. So I think my biggest strength is just Ableton. That's the software I use. So I think that's the main thing I would want to teach, is just the fundamentals of that software, because you really need that as a foundation. Regardless,
I'd take your class.
Thank you.
Hey, Fredward, I was looking at him right now. Fredward's face was like, ooh. He's so excited. Hey, so Ableton is a program that you use, right? So I guess that's the software.
Yep.
What about your hardware, man? What are you using to make some of your music? Like, what are you banging with, man?
I have, I guess, 3 synthesizers, depending on how you count, and then I have a sampler / drum machine. I have like an analog distortion unit, and I also have like a little portable studio thing.
He's gonna go walk around his room and grab equipment and stuff. Hey, that is cool.
Yes.
So that looks like dude, it literally looks like a small little keyboard, almost like a typing keyboard.
You play the keys. Yeah, I got pretty decent using it for a little while, and then I kind of got distracted with all the marketing and the promotion and stuff like that. But
so
you can see how the screen kind of turns on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That is super cool. So you got some really pricey equipment. So like, for us average boys, like some average dudes that are listening out there, like, explain to us like what a sampler is, what a synthesize, like what do you mean by all this stuff? Even that cool keyboard that you got.
Okay. Well, a sampler takes snippets of audio, and depending on the sampler, you can manipulate those snippets of audio. You can tune them and shorten them and put effects on them and have them play at different times and timings, and loop them and different stuff like that. A synthesizer, depending on whether or not it's at analog or digital, which it can get really complicated really quick, but basically they make sound using sound waves, and they have different waveforms. You can have synthesizers that are monophonic, which means it only plays one note at a time, or it's polyphonic. And so depending on how expensive or feature rich, you can have a polyphonic synthesizer that only plays up to 4 notes at a time, or some of the more expensive one might play up to like 16 different notes at the same time. So that's like how many notes it can play without canceling out. So if you play a monophonic synthesizer, it'll cancel out the last note. So if you try to play 2 notes at a time, it'll only play one or the other. Yeah. Some synthesizers have built-in sequencers. So like my Digitone, which is a digital synthesizer, has built-in sequencers, and you can save patches and stuff like that, and save the sequences. And then with my analog synthesizers, those you can't save anything, so I mean you can leave the knobs where they were when you turn it off, but you can't save like multiple patches or anything. You could take a picture of it or something like that. But I guess I could pick one of these up and show you guys really quick. So yeah, this is one of them right.
Oh, okay.
Here.
What's it called? Abyss?
Yeah, this is called the Abyss. It's the company that made it is called Dreadbox, and they are from Greece. So
by chance, do you have videos of you like reviewing some of this stuff already?
That is awesome.
Yeah, I actually do have one on YouTube for this one, and it's called the top 5 features. So it's
Nice.
like my top 5 favorite features of this synthesizer. And yeah, so this one has effects, and you can change the waveforms, and you can do like oscillations on the waveforms, and so lots of crazy stuff. And then I have my other one that's too big to put in the shop, but
yeah, because like literally while you're explaining so many like words that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but the equipment looks fucking badass, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. I would just say for people starting out, just get the most, user friendly, and less is more. Two of the most popular pieces of gear ever, or maybe I could even use like 3 examples, but like the Roland 909, the Roland 303, and also the Moog Model D. They're all, they don't have a ton of stuff to figure out, and I think that's what makes them more creative, because they don't get like kind of lost in the weeds with all the features. So
yeah, man, I was gonna say like there's, I mean, dude, I've heard your music, and it's got some badass shit to it. And
thank you.
You're super intelligent when it comes to your music theory and like your musical appreciation. Like you're not a dude who just gets behind the equipment and just goes. Like when I play guitar, like I just play guitar. Like if you put music in front of me, I'm not going to be able to read it. I just literally put my fingers on it and I play whatever I can. Like, so I would say in that sense, I'm just like a regular average dude when it comes to playing guitar, where like you're the type of guy that will make his music, make the composer sheet, put the notes down on the scale and all that other stuff. It's super intelligent, man. Like it's super, you don't, thanks. I kind of feel like that's why I kind of stay like, I feel like you're more of like a producer of music, rather than just a techno guy.
Yeah.
Cause like at first I was like, oh, this guy just makes techno. That's still cool as fuck. But like when I started looking into your YouTube channel and I started seeing your music, like I saw that you do have an appreciation for it, like an appreciation of the art form that is techno. Oh, so like what gave you that passion for it?
I mean, just other artists throughout the years, like I guess 9 Inch Nails is probably my like oldest / biggest influence.
Industrial, so, like that industrial sound.
Yeah, and just the way he kind of has one sound, but then within that sound, he can go in a lot of different directions. So, he can.
Christopher Richardson, do we see a little goth in you? Are you wearing eyeliner right now?
No, I'm not. I probably would have when I was young, but I was never brave enough. I didn't want to make myself a target,
I was going to say, what was your scene back in the day, dude?
No, I was always like dress as plain as possible, keep my head down. Yeah, so
you're more like the Logic rapper.
I mean, I got picked on in middle school, so like it wasn't like a stylistic choice. It was seriously just trying to avoid being.
That's because you're like 8 feet tall, man. Who would pick on you?
Other people who are 8 feet tall, I guess.
You're like the tallest dude I know, man. You're like the tallest dude I know. I could literally see you at Walmart everywhere, dude. Throughout the whole store, I could see you in Walmart.
I guess I should have just wore the goth shit anyway, since I was.
Yeah, dude, that would have been so wild, dude. So, like, your 9 Inch Nail fixation, man.
Yeah, we can talk about that for 5 hours. Like, we can.
Have you ever been able to go see him?
Once, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was the experience?
It was great. Yeah. The show that I went to, I think it was the With Teeth tour, which I guess was like early 2000s. They actually had like this mesh curtain that was, you could barely see through it for like the first 3, 4, 5 songs, which, I was kind of on the fence about that. I was like, I paid to see you, but you're like behind a bride veil that's black kind of looking thing, So
what was the purpose of it?
I think it was just like a theatrics kind of thing.
Was it a full band or was it just him by himself?
No, it was a full band. Yeah,
full band.
Yeah.
Damn, that's so cool.
I got to see them at the River City Rock Fest.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, in San Antonio.
Yeah, that
Dude,
was
that's so
awesome. They were there. We saw Primus, Stone Temple Pilots, and 9 Inch Nails in that order. They're the last ones, and I was just like, damn, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so quick.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other cool bands there too, like Suicidal Tendencies, Joan Jett, the Heartbreakers, Chevelle was there.
Oh damn! Yeah, I haven't seen Chevelle in a super long time.
Bush was there too, so we got to see all.
What year did you go?
I don't know, it was like 2 years ago. 18.
Was that the one that Sons of Texas were there?
I don't think so. I don't think they were there.
No. I know that they played 2 years, man. My sister got to go and she met like Marilyn Manson and like all this other shit. So that was super cool. I'm a big Slipknot fan, man. I've always been a big Slipknot fan. So,
yeah, hell yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got to see them. They came to, what was it called? The Villarreal?
Yeah.
I got to see them when they come to the Villarreal. I got to see them. They came like twice, I believe. I want to say they came. I don't think they came to Tattoo the Earth. That's when we saw Mudvayne. I don't know if you guys remember Tattoo the Earth. Chris, you probably weren't here yet for Tattoo the Earth. Yeah, you were probably up having a good time in St. Louis, being cool with the rest of the world, while we were just being the Valley.
Yeah, but now he's in Texas, and it's awesome.
But now you're down here. You're like,
there's good and bad everywhere. So
yeah, now that you're here in the South Texas area, you can like run the techno scene. What's the techno scene down here like?
Well,
I'm not as into techno anymore, though. That's what I'm telling you. You know, I mean, it's I don't know what the label is anymore. But yeah, I make tracks that are a little more down tempo sometimes, a little more trippy sometimes. So I don't know if it would just be down tempo electronica. I have some tracks that are a little more chill wave, but yeah, techno is more danceable. And I've got away from that a little bit. I think part of what did it for me was, I would go to the clubs and I would see people dancing and they would just be dancing just long enough to take a selfie video. And that was it, so I'm like driving my gear from Harlingen to McAllen. And then I'm setting up and I'm playing and there's people there. But, most nights people would have to get like pretty drunk and it would reach a certain capacity for people to get comfortable with dancing. Because most people nowadays, they're just comfortable playing with their phone the whole time, and I was like, well, I can just broadcast from home if you're going to be on your phone, and you can just see me on your phone.
So that's what kind of got you onto being more on YouTube?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And also just being more of a producer, less of a DJ. When I was a DJ, I was always worried about like people, spilling drinks on the gear. And the older I got, I didn't like getting home at like 3 or 4 as much anymore. You worry about getting like jumped, when you're taking your gear back to your car.
Yeah, of course.
Downtown McAllen can be a little shady.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie.
So yeah, it just kind of like it wasn't worth it as much anymore. And just the older I got, the more I appreciated being a producer and being able to like perfect something. And
so like with this whole pandemic, like did it kind of sway you more into being the more like into the YouTube content creating? Since you were on it so much?
Yeah, I think it was that. That the pandemic forced me to kind of take the summer off. Normally I'll teach all summer just for the extra money. And this summer it was like the combination of like getting older and also just not wanting to teach online all summer. It just made me say, you know what? I don't want to teach online this summer. Like even though the money would have been nice, like I was kind of okay on money at the beginning of the summer. So I took the summer off and focused on the marketing and the social media and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've just been trying different stuff out, like when I was younger, it was always like, let me wait, or, I'll just try to get on a label. And I didn't push my music that hard. I pushed hard to make better music, but I didn't promote it that because I always just felt like, oh, I'm not ready or it's not good enough. I didn't have confidence, you know, and after 20 years, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to really push it, you know, and producing's hard, you know, so it takes a long time to get good at. I still don't want to act like, you know, oh, I'm the best producer ever or anything, but I think it's taken me 20 years to get something that I can be halfway proud of.
Like confidence in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand, man. So, it's super crazy, man. Like, cause like it sounds like, of course, like you had a lot of stuff going on when it came to like going out and DJing, and then all of a sudden this pandemic hits, and then with your career being a school teacher, being in front of students, and now being at home, it's kind of like you found this way to adapt not only your school teaching career but your music career all at once, all through like the platform. But is YouTube the only thing that you're doing right now for the platform?
I'm pushing the Instagram pretty hard.
Okay.
I haven't really tried it as much with like Facebook or Spotify. I used to do SoundCloud a lot, but I've heard that SoundCloud's kind of going downhill, so I've kind of let that go a little bit. So yeah, the main two that I'm pushing right now are YouTube and Instagram. And also, I've just been doing music so long that I think it's nice for me with YouTube and Instagram to focus on the visual side of things as well and get a little more creative with camera angles and lighting and photographs and design and stuff like that. So I've been enjoying that because I think I'm more of a visual person than I realized. So there's that side of me too. So, and it's just fun to make music videos and stuff like that. Even if they're crappy and amateurish, I like just adding that visual element and giving people something.
Yeah, it's still fun. Yeah, it's still fun that you don't have to. It's learning at the same time. Yeah. I do the same thing when it comes to my stuff. Like when making trailers for guests that we have on the show or making some type of advertisement, like it's always a learning curve. And at first it's a little difficult because you kind of like don't know what to click or where to look for it. But once you kind of do it, you end up using it as best as you can and pushing something out. But sometimes it can feel a little lazy because you already know the routine.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll kind of go through it and it kind of takes away from being masterful at it.
Right.
When the passion is there at the very beginning. What's been the learning curve for you making the transition into YouTube?
I think the hardest part is just figuring out how to get it in front of people. I mean, I don't think my content's like absolutely amazing, but I think it's pretty good. That's the easier part for me. You know, I learned iMovie pretty quickly and I was able to edit out a lot of my ums and ahs and all that stuff and figure out a little bit more about the camera and stuff like that. But the advertising and the promotion stuff is deep and
it's fucking
like branding and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now is trying to figure that out. And the thing with advertising, it's not there's more of a cost when if you do trial and error. Like let's say I make a video and it kind of sucks and then I make another video and it's better. It didn't really cost me anything, but if you make shitty ads, you have to pay to find that out. Every time you're like, oh, well, let me put a little money on this ad and let me put a little money, so, and it's also just easier for me to see, like, if I make a decent video, it's easier for me to see, but it's trickier to make a decent ad. I think.
Yeah, like I've been using the Facebook advertisement.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's frustrating because sometimes you'll make an advertisement that you're comfortable with or it feels good and you feel confident. And then you put the to let it go through and it shows that it is not approved. And it doesn't really explain to you why it's not approved. And then you're like, dang it. I was dealing with that this week, actually, when I was trying to make the advertisement for this show. I usually try to do a couple of paid advertisement through Facebook, and dude, it sometimes gets really frustrating. But I don't know if it's because of the fact that maybe because I was doing it on the road at work, maybe it's best to do advertisements like that for your branding or your, like with us, our Facebook page, probably through your home system, like your desktop or
I don't
something.
Know.
Yeah, because it didn't go so well for me doing it on mobile. So, fuck. So what other things are you using for the advertisement when it comes to that? Are you using like the paid for on Instagram?
Yeah, the Instagram's the main one that I've used so far.
And how's that one been treating you?
I haven't really. I've only done a few. So mostly right now, I'm still doing research. I'm reading like marketing books and stuff like that to try to figure some of that out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing the stuff I didn't do.
Watching YouTube videos on it and trying to learn it. Because I'd rather like save my money until I really know what I'm doing, and then yeah.
And what type of equipment did you end up getting for yourself when it came to running your YouTube channel?
Actually, I just looked into the latest iPhone, so I did that. I already had a pretty good computer. I've really liked the way that the iPhone and my Mac kind of work with each other, so I'm able to send files between them pretty quickly. When I had an Android, like I had to connect a wire to send the files. I don't know if there was a way to do it wirelessly, but it's definitely easier when you're all in the same ecosystem. I got a lapel mic that I didn't have before. I have like a studio light, so it's over here. I don't know if I can get it in the shot. There's the umbrella.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I think I got a few other things too, but I'm like drawing a blank on those right now. But yeah, I didn't have to get a ton of gear. I think a lot of people that come to my YouTube for like the reviews and the tutorials, they want the content for itself. They don't want it just because it's beautiful or any, like, and so I don't have to have like the best camera. And the new iPhone's pretty good. It has a pretty good camera on it, so it's worked for me pretty well.
Well, I mean, that was like right now too with me, going from my computer to my iPad. I'm using an iPad Pro.
Yeah.
And you made a comment and you said, man, dude, the camera's a lot cleaner and stuff. Yeah. And it's crazy because, of course, my iPad, it costs a lot. But for the camera on here, I thought it wasn't going to be as good as the other camera that I have because I have the Logitech Brio. That's like a 4000K, 1080p, 60 frame per second fucking crazy ass camera. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, is probably a lot cleaner than that one.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So that's nuts, dude. Because I wouldn't expect, especially being that it's the front-facing camera for the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
The backside of the camera is usually the better quality one.
Yeah.
So like with your iPad which iPhone are you using for your production?
I have the 11 Pro Max. Yeah.
So you're using the backside, the 3 cameras?
Or the 3 lenses? Think it's both. I was using the front facing more just because I could see what I was doing and frame the shot a little bit better. So if you're doing it by yourself, that's good. But yeah, the rear facing camera is higher quality. And so I've been using that a little more recently. And the other thing I like about the rear facing camera is I actually look into the camera itself instead of looking
it kind of forces you to do that.
Yeah, here I'll be looking at the middle of the screen where my face is instead of looking like it's just got a tiny little camera over here. So I'm always like, it looks like I'm looking at something else. But if I flip it this way, I know where to look.
Yeah, it forces you to look at the lenses and stuff. So it gives you more of a straight eye view, makes your professional video looking good stuff. That's crazy, man. So, okay. So just on a breakdown for people that are listening, when it comes to people that are trying to get into the DJing world, not mentioning the YouTube stuff, what is a really good way for them to start up if it's something that they want to get into? Like, what's a good starter equipment and what's the price range that they would probably be spending?
I mean, yeah, if they're just wanting to DJ, there are really cheap apps out there that will just let you like play around with it. I don't know how much you would want to use those apps, like in a club. I mean, I guess some people are like iPad DJs these days, probably. But I would recommend just getting like a $10 or $20 app, just to see if you like it enough to keep doing it, and then once you're at that point, I would get like something a little more serious on a laptop, and then maybe get a controller or something like that. I really liked Tractor just because I think it would automatically like normalize the volume. So if you had one track that was a little quieter and one track that was a little loud, it just would automatically adjust those to where the levels would match, or at least it always seemed that way to me. So even if I tried to do DJ mixes in Ableton, you just had to do a lot more prep and make the tracks line up in advance and do little track markers and stuff. So yeah, I know that's a long, complicated answer, but basically
No.
Tractor it's made for DJing, so it's quicker for that. It also does the key detection, so you can tell which tracks are in the same key.
Okay.
And so you can use, I think it's called like the Camelot wheel, lets you know like which tracks are in which scales, and you want to mix certain scales into so that the notes of the different tracks don't clash with each other.
Yes, that way they're on the same octave.
Yeah.
I got you.
So and yeah, so Ableton doesn't do so. To me, Ableton's way better for producing, and Tractor's better for DJing.
Cool. And what about when it comes to doing a YouTube channel? Since it's something that you're getting into, what we do is when it comes to inviting guests over on our local content creator showcase, we try to encourage other people to get out there and create content. So we're always trying to give them ideas. Like we've had rappers from the area come in and other YouTubers and stuff like that come in and try to, give us the heads up on how to come across starting something. You know what I mean? So like, what would you recommend when it comes to the YouTube?
I think it depends on what kind of content you're trying to make. Obviously somebody who, if they're wanting to record themselves like mountain biking or something, they would want a camera that can take a little bit more abuse, and
like an action cam or something.
Yeah. So like maybe a GoPro or something like that. I definitely don't claim to be super knowledgeable on the video side of things. So I'm definitely
but the thing is that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing something. And
I would just say, get on Reddit, ask for help. There's free editing software out there. Not like I said, I use iMovie and that just comes with the Mac. That's free. There's apps where people can edit on their phones for cheap. So it's easier than ever because the technology just gets cheaper and cheaper. So
yeah, that's because I feel like even like during right now, because of the pandemic, there's probably a lot of people out there that have created programs and apps and stuff that are probably on a really good deal right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even video game companies out there that are like giving away video games for free practically to keep people inside.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I think it's just with the research that people do. Like I was going to say, like off the top of your head, I know you mentioned one synth, like a program that you use. Mm-hmm. Are there any other programs like Audacity? I think Audacity is one of them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's free also.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like maybe like one other program that you can think of off the top of your head that might be a kind of like a friendly to use kind?
I mean, I just love Ableton so much that I would just get like the lightest version of that. I think they have Ableton Intro or Ableton Lite or something. It comes with sound cards nowadays. So that's like nice. A really good like entry level, you can get the sound card and get the software, and the software just comes free with the sound card.
With the sound card.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. And for YouTube, what do you expect them to pay out for like the lights and all that stuff? Actually, I was even going to recommend something.
I don't even remember how much. Yeah, I got a set of 2, and it was probably only like $50 or something like that. It wasn't.
You got it on Amazon or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking. The real big studio lights, right?
Yeah, I mean it's it's
the umbrella ones.
It's pretty big umbrella. Yeah, I don't know if I can fit it in the whole shot. Let me see if I can zoom out.
You're gonna do some circus stuff, man.
Yeah, so it's pretty big. Yeah,
very very cool. What kind of camera are you using, man? That you can zoom in like that, all cool, and zoom out.
This is just the built-in camera on
For your webcam
on my iMac. Yeah, but I'm using
Damn.
a like an add-on little piece of software that's called eyeglasses.
Okay.
And so it just replaces the software for the camera. I think
For the
it
iMac.
was like $20 for the software. So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Uh-huh. Not really. Like after the last event, I think that Robert and I, we were both pretty discouraged and pretty tired. I mean, we still raised $1,000 for a really good cause, but we had pushed that event so hard, and then there was freezing rain. And so if not for the freezing rain, I think we would have gotten like $3,000 or $4,000 raised for
Whoa. What are you guys talking about? What is that or what?
So Texas Music Helps is a nonprofit, and I don't know if he was the main founder or one of the founders, but his name is Robert Hahn. He is in the band called Over Enemy, and they do metal.
Yeah.
I think that what's the guy's name? Charlie. He's in it too. He made the As I Walk Through the Valley movie. Vela. Yeah, I was wanting to say Vera, like aloe vera, but I knew that wasn't it. So, yeah, so he's in the nonprofit as well. But yeah, so they had already thrown a few, like one or two cancer fundraiser events. So they do music events for good causes where they raise money for a good cause. And nice. The event that I helped with, we were raising money for Super Ramy and Friends, which
yay, Chrissy Machado.
Yeah, and
good lady, man.
Yeah, and so that was for kids with cancer, and
mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think we were just really exhausted after that because it was a lot of work to get the sponsors and the gear and the setting up and the booking the venue and the booking the bands and all that and the DJs and so we were like, oh, let's take a break for a little while, and that little while has become like 3 years or 2 years or something like that. So yeah, maybe someday we'll after COVID we'll try to do something else again.
That's something I definitely want to be a part of. Like, I'd love for RGV Titan Radio and Texas Music Helps to partner up something like that.
Awesome.
At least for one or two events.
It just sounds like a beautiful event to begin with. I mean, it's so good to see people helping other people. I mean, man, and then like right now in the situation that we're in, like I think more than anything, the world needs things like that since we're all like, in our situation with the COVID and stuff. So like it's man, if you guys ever started something like that, I'd love to help out too as much as I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, because it's just helping other people, and I mean also like Super Ramy and Friends with Chrissy. Like Chrissy's a really good friend of ours, so like I'm really happy that you guys got to go out and help them because the program that they have is a beautiful program that they do, and they go and they get cosplayers to dress up as superheroes and go encourage the kids, and it's really beautiful stuff. So it's awesome that you guys help them out.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're about almost out of time.
Okay.
What I wanted to do real quick is I wanted to ask, I probably already know your opinion, but this goes back to the very first thing that we were talking about, which is your work.
Yep.
Are you kind of for or are you against going back to teaching like out in the open again, like with students and stuff? Are you against it or for it?
Yeah, I'm against it. Yeah.
You're like completely against it? Like even with the high schools and the elementaries and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you feel about all this stuff that the governor's talking about, them wanting to reopen and them being serious, like them really being stern on it?
I mean, I haven't paid enough attention to politics to know what the governor is saying. So maybe could you elaborate on that a little bit?
I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, they were talking about at least by the fall having, of course, schools open right back up, because I believe the idea behind it was since children don't really get sick from the COVID that much, the rate of sickness should be less, or they have all their weird ideals about it and stuff. But just recently, my family lives next to one of the high schools, and they had a protest here in Edinburgh at Edinburgh North. There was a bunch of people that showed up to protest against them wanting to open the schools back up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, it's a very interesting subject because I know that there's.
I think it's just, you know, I don't claim to be an expert on the virus or anything, but I think it's just better to err on the side of caution. You know, one of my wife's like long-term coworkers or clients just died from it recently. Oof. You know, so it seems like now more than ever, everybody now knows somebody who's passed, or at least knows somebody who knows somebody that passed, you know. So I think in March we were all like, oh, is this a joke? You know, like what's going on? But I think it's more real now. And yeah, here in the Valley, I don't think we've taken it seriously enough. And that's why shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah, it's been getting pretty dicey, man. Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, actually one of our previous guests, Manuel Saenz, his father had just recently got it and passed away. So, you know, our condolences to him and his family. He's been a really good inspiration in my life. Because, you know, you guys as teachers, man, you guys inspire a lot of the youngins. And you guys, no matter how much you don't know, you leave a pretty big mark in people's lives as school teachers. And you guys are all very important. That's why I feel like this subject is very important. Because first off, it's like you said earlier, like it's great tape because of the way that you can talk about it, but there's good kids and there's bad kids, right?
Yeah.
And that's because of the fact that each one of those children, they come in from a different lifestyle, and they come in and they have the job to do. They got to go and they got to work and they got to do all this stuff. And some of them aren't happy, but if we can't have our school teachers happy going to work, what are we going to expect of the outcome for the student?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, that's probably like my biggest concern about the situation.
And I think there was something like that in California where, you know, they were like, all like, oh, well, we can go back to school and the kids don't transmit it and we'll be safe. And so a lot of the administration, they were having these meetings and the principals were having the meetings. And then 40 of the principals had COVID.
Damn.
You know? So
that's like the whole school district.
I think there's some people at the top that they're just not thinking this through. It's like, you can't have all these kids in a building without having a ton of adults. That's how it works. You have to have supervisors or babysitters or whatever, you know.
Like when it's real crazy the way my brain processes crap sometimes. Whenever I hear things like that, I always try to think of kind of like alleviating situations. Like I always try to think of an outcome. Like, oh, okay, well, why don't you just have someone invent something like this, or go through this type of plan, or make the teachers do this, make the students do that. And the one thing that always popped into my head was the argument is, well, kids need to go back to school because what's going to happen to this generation of kids that aren't going to school? They're not going to be brighter. They're not going to be smarter. They have all these different excuses, but it's like, what about the teachers? Like, what about their mental health of staying positive and trying to make the children feel positive about it when they're probably just as scared as all of us are?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen to that generation of kids that are raised by teachers who aren't confident, who are literally there to teach them confidence in what they do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's I think there's a lot more psychological damage that'll happen if they open up schools. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's got to have its pros and cons, of course, like, but it's something that has to just be researched and looked up. Of course, like I think the idea is, what are we going to do with teachers and their salaries? Like, how do you keep paying teachers that don't want to go to work or whatever if they don't want to go to work, right? Like in the situation that you're in at work, do they compensate you for being at home more, or does it kind of affect your pay situation in any way? Like you as a professor?
No, the pay is the same, but at least, I don't know, at least right now as I'm prepping for the fall, it's a lot more work, you know, because normally we have to make the class, you know, and we put a few things online, but most of it we just present to the students throughout the semester. And with the online stuff, we're having to basically fully build the class online and all the elements on the class like up front, because we're supposed to have all these, technical issues that we have, or technical issues that the students have later on, or just things that we're not, so I found it to be, you know, more work for the same amount of pay, at least right now,
Well, I hope they compensate you better, man, because it's got to be stressful as hell for you guys too.
Yeah. So. I mean, I don't think it's up to the, they only get so much money from the state, and they only get so much money from maybe the board, and yeah. So.
And I think those were the arguments that they were talking about too. That was possibly one of the arguments that was going on with all that.
And enrollment's down, so they're going to get less money.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that. I remember you talking about that there wasn't as many students signing up for classes.
Yeah, and some students will start online, and then they're like, "Oh, screw this, I can't do it," and they just give up and take their money back.
That would suck.
So luckily, I have enough seniority to probably be safe and keep my job. But yeah, at this point, I'm just thankful. It's more work and it's a pain in the ass, but I'm just happy that I'll probably be able to keep my job. So,
well, Chris, we're going to keep you in our prayers, and for those listeners that don't believe in the prayer parts, we're going to keep our positive vibes towards you. So hopefully that everything goes good with your job, and STC stays good, and
thank you.
And hopefully everything goes smoothly, and maybe even a little bit of life returns back to normal. I actually heard today in the news on the radio that they were going to be doing 2 testing areas here in the Valley that are going to be working on testing a vaccine.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So if a vaccine is something that's in the works, and all these crazy conspiracy people don't think it's a chipping or aliens or something, and people take it serious and stuff, hopefully it's something that really does work, man, because if there's anything the world needs, it needs some positivity. It needs some hope. I think we're lacking news. Superman. Yeah, it needs good news, man. I'm so tired, man. I'm so tired of bad news already. Yeah. Like, it's just gotten to me already. But
I thought 2019 was so bad, and
man, it has nothing on 20. I'm not even excited for 2021. Well, Chris, I wanted to say thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it that you were able to come on, and that you were so open about talking about your work too. I know that it probably wasn't like a big thing that you never want to disclose anything about work.
I'm always afraid to say the wrong thing, and then it gets taken out of context, and you're fine.
I know, man. We always talk about that, like when we're playing our games and stuff like that. And you're always like, no, I don't want to get in trouble or whatnot. So I really appreciate it. And I wanted to keep it as professional as we could. So hopefully you don't get in too much trouble. And if they get in trouble, if they say something, you tell them to come and talk to me. I'll get fired for you. But like I said, I want to thank you so much for coming out on the show. How are some ways that we can get a hold of you? I know that you said that if people have questions about wanting to get into the music or getting some ideas, that they could get in contact with you.
Yeah, so I have my Facebook page, that's Christopher Thomas Richardson. I have my Instagram, that's Christopher Thomas Richardson. YouTube, same thing. I have my own Bandcamp, which is christopherthomasrichardson.com.
Damn.
So yeah, I got all those different ways of getting a hold of me. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, YouTube. So yeah.
Hey man, well, is there anything that you'd like to say before we go?
Stay safe. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Guys, that's the way it always goes here on the Average Boys podcast. Of course, we didn't have Trigger today. Trigger, we miss you, man, if you're out there listening to the airwaves. Fredward, again, thank you so much for always hosting the Average Boys on the RGVTitanRadio.com. We hope everybody's being safe, man. Every day it's almost like it's just bad news over and over again. But we want to make sure that everyone out there, we say it every week, wear your masks. I know they're uncomfortable. I know people complain that they can't breathe. They go into stores, they can't do anything. But we just want to keep everybody safe. Yeah. The only way this is going to work is if we work together. And I know there's some people that don't believe in it, or they don't want to acknowledge that the disease is real. The disease is real. It doesn't matter about the numbers that you think aren't real or whatnot. It's just about keeping everybody else around you safe. Everybody's got to be a hero right now. Everybody's got to protect each other. So wear your masks, wash your hands, don't drink hand sanitizer. Like if if you need to, just take shots of vodka. That's what me and Fred do to stay healthy. Also, I want to kind of say, like, get some vitamin D, and I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean that in a, get outside, go outside in the sun for a little bit. I'm not talking about like skin cancer outside. Like, I'm just talking about for a little bit of time. Go out. Don't keep yourself cramped in. If you got a backyard, go to the backyard. If you can find your way out into a street, a sidewalk without being around anybody, like, get some walking in. I know that there's a lot of things that are out there when it comes to this disease that everybody's confused about. But if there's one thing that really, really helps you is getting some sunlight. Don't stay clogged in the house, in the air condition where there's a lot of moisture. Get outside a little bit, get some sun, take your vitamins, take care of yourself. Kind of do the healthy shit that you didn't like to do before. Stop eating the raspas, like Chris over here says. And try to be a little healthier so that way we can take care of ourselves. The problem with the Valley, I think everybody's already been talking about it recently, is we are the most overweight place and obese place, and there's a lot of people that suffer from diabetes and pre-ailments that this virus like piggybacks on and makes life worse. So the best thing you could do right now is just take care of yourself. Do a little bit of research, read a little bit on what helps you vitamin wise, take care of your elderly, your parents, your grandparents, and our condolences for people that have passed and their family members, their elders that have passed on. We're going to do our best, and we hope that you all do your best. I want to thank all our listeners out there, our extraordinary listeners, for always tuning in. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting us here on the Average Boys Podcast and RGV Titan Radio. This is Chris B signing out. Laters.
The views and opinions expressed by our guest, host, and/or DJs do not reflect the official policy or position of RGV Titan Radio, our affiliates, or our sponsors. RGVTitanRadio.com. We are the 956.